Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Empyrion Galactic Survival. My name is Spanj, and welcome back to this tutorial series. Now, I have shown you guys quite a lot of stuff. At the moment, I've shown you the beginning of the game and how to survive, how to, get your first ships in, and so on and so forth, how to mine, how to do POIs, explore, go through the missions, and stuff like that. What is left to do other than just going through the missions? Well, there's quite a lot to the game still, so don't panic. It's not the end. A lot of you might be thinking, well, we've kind of reached the end of the game here. We've done everything. Well, technically, I suppose, if you really boil it down into the basic parts of the game, yeah, you've done everything. You've been to space. You've gone warpy warps. You've built stuff. You've lived places. You've beaten things. You've done missions. You've traded. You've explored, and so on and so forth. But there is a lot more of each of those components to do. So don't worry. There's a lot more stuff that we haven't seen yet. Now, the difficulty is in a tutorial series like this, where I'm trying to keep every episode in some kind of informative and demonstrative manner, it's now a lot of the same that I've already shown you. But there are a few milestones that I want to get through before I put a pin in this series and say, I think we've covered everything, And so what I want to do is, well, we need to go through the missions, but I feel like going through them is probably a case of going through the highlights rather than take you through every episode of every mission. Now, most of the time, you guys can figure out those missions. They're pretty straightforward. They're worth doing, like I've already demonstrated and already pointed out, and they get you some nice rewards and stuff like that. Now, the parts of the game that I do want to cover off in this tutorial series is really advancing from mid-game where we are now into late game and end game, and what the hell to do. Because it is a question I see over and over and over again in the comments and in reviews and on the forums and so on and so forth. There's no endgame in Empyrion. Well, I will admit the endgame in Empyrion is somewhat weak at the moment. Much of the development time and priority has been pumped into doing the early game and basically creating an initial impression of the game that wants to keep players playing and keep those refunds down. So, yeah, they haven't put a huge amount of emphasis on the end game. Anyway, I do want to demonstrate that there is one, but you need to do it yourself. You need to find it yourself, and so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to transfer into the sort of mid to end game now. I would say there's probably 4 stages to Empyrion. There's the early game survival. And then there's the mid game once you finish surviving, and you've actually got food, and survival is no longer a question. It's more about getting building and grinding and doing missions and stuff like that. That would be the mid game for me. And then you got late game, which I suppose is being established, having multiple ships, vehicles for every purpose, and having a base, lots of resources, and so on and so forth. And then there's the end game, which is basically you have everything, and you're just going around and finding trouble and trying to expand through destruction, basically. That would be the end game. So yeah, we're going to try and transfer into late game in today's episode. Now, I am going to go through the missions, but as I just said, I'm going to give you the highlights here. So let's have a look at what we're at. We're at Meet Glad, okay? So this is part of the story where you kind of meet up with the remnants of the UCH fleet. And if we remember from earlier on, we know that basically we crashed here on the moon or whatever. We appeared on the moon. Clearly, there seems to be some disconnect between the story and the starts now. I'm not really sure how they're going to link those back up, but there definitely seems to be some disconnect between the whole UCH ship fleet crashing and burning and blowing up and you appearing suddenly randomly on Ninguez or Masmaron or wherever you appear. Hopefully they'll link that up in a future update and it will become a little bit more clearer to people that have not played previous iterations of the start. Anyway, we're going to meet the remnants of the UCH. They're going to give us some missions and so on and so forth. So we meet Glad. This is a hideout here. And we talked to this Mercer chap, who is a very boring person. And of course, there's lots of bits of story and things like that that you can explore and get into a little bit of the background and the lore and stuff like that. You're then sent off to this space station, Sigma Fulcrum. There's some traders here, so you can actually sell some of the guns that you've been gathering. Also note that Empyrion have changed the sells and buys thing around. So now it's from the trader's perspective. He sells these ores, he buys these parts. It's so much clearer now. I don't know, maybe it was just me. I was an absolute numpty or something, but that makes so much more sense to me. And thank you, Empyrion. Thank you. I'm sorry for being a difficult bastard and constantly complaining about things, but I appreciate you so much for doing these little changes here and there. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry, thank you, sorry, thank you, sorry, thank you. This is awesome. Empyrion? Something in the base seems to be shooting itself. I'm not sure that's supposed to happen. You may want to look into that. If I can figure out what it is, I'll show you. I have no idea what's going on, but there's a massive firefight happening. Oh. I'm not supposed to be here. Hi, guys. What the hell is going on, man? I mean, that whole faction fight each other thing, I think is kicking off. Big style. Look at this place. It is on. It is kicking off. Big style. Oh, I want to get out of here. Oh, crap. Yeah. I hate those things. They will kill you instantly. Anyway, as you can see, you're getting a big fight. Eventually, after fighting your way through many guards, you end up in the core room of the base here. And you just talk to this console here, and you basically complete the mission. But there are a bunch of switches on the left and right of me. And if you basically just switch a bunch of these around, doesn't really matter. But what should happen is the entire place blows up. Now, yeah, it kills you, but it also kills the core. And once the core's dead, you can go in and just pop your own in, basically. I'm gonna put it through here, otherwise I'm gonna run out of logistics. And this entire base is now yours. The guns will fight for you. All the loot can be had, because all these containers were owned by the free colonists. Now they're yours. So you can have this entire station and its contents. You can even turn it into your base if you want. But generally I just loot the living bejesus out of it, take everything out of it, all the juicy stuff, as you know, and go on my merry way. Anyway, the missions eventually have you boarding a Xerax vessel and talking to the ambassador of House Abyssal, who sends us to this spooky old pyramid to fight a bunch of beasties. And of course all this leads you to a planet that is very rich in resources and POIs and stuff like that. So you are encouraged to generally explore these areas because they have a little bit more on them than normal planets in the rest of the galaxy would have. Anyway, Lady Xerax then sends us off to this asteroid here, where we must fight more Xeraxians and learn some new secrets and information about the Xerax and the Xerax Talon Academy from the oldie age. This is all about the War of Silence and stuff like that. It's pretty good stuff, and if you've not read it before several times over like I have, it's definitely worth a visit and a quick read through this stuff, because it's quite interesting. Anyway, then you need to talk to the Keeper here, and he tells you all you want to know about what the history of the Xerax and the Talon working together against the Legacy. The rest of the missions have you fighting off the Legacy, the Xerax, of course, blowing up space stations, and rescuing old girlfriends from prison. Anyway, the missions are definitely worthwhile. They're pretty fun. They've got some really cool lore and information in them. And then, you know, there's still more to come as the game continues development. So, thank you, Elion. It's always good fun running through the missions. But you can do all of them in the starter ship. Here, you can see the Hammerhead successfully completing those missions. I've got the Nightshade on board and the Hover Vessel, of course, and that's it. And basically, everything that I've picked up along the way has been used to complete those missions. You don't need some big, super, mega heavy battleship or anything like that. That being said, I do hope that one day we do need a big, stupid, heavy battleship to complete later missions. I think that would really give the game the kind of progression that it needs, where actually you do need to go out and essentially play the rest of the game in order to complete the missions. As it is at the moment, you can get through all of it with a starter ship armed with 4 GAT turrets. So yeah, a little bit of a difficulty curve being introduced later is a good thing. So, like I said, what now? We've done the missions, we have been rewarded with the rewards, and we got all the loot from all the things that we've been and seen, and our cargo holds are kind of bursting at the seams. You know, we have got a lot of stuff on us, and we're carrying it around in this very lightly armored ship with minor defenses. One stray missile with the shields down and our entire life goes up in a big explosion. So, what we need to do is find somewhere to call home. Now, of course, if you are the nomadic type player, you may want to spawn in a big ship that you call your mobile base that's a little bit more protected than a starter ship and just go around the galaxy that. Me personally, I quite like finding somewhere to call home, setting up either a base or a base station or something like that, and living out of that while going off on little adventures in a ship. That way, if I lose the ship, then I don't lose everything. I can always go back to base and start over. Now, what I would suggest you do is basically do a little bit of exploration to find a system with a number of planets on it that you can set up auto miners on. Now, I mean, assuming that, of course, you want to actually go through the process of building bigger ships and things like that, then you're going to want a lot of resources and you're going to want a lot of fuel to power those bigger, better ships. So what I suggest you do is warp around, basically, explore different star systems and check out the local planets in the area of each system you come across. Now, you may want to consider where you settle down if you are settling down. Here in neutral space, you're probably going to find a planet with nothing on it in terms of POIs, enemies, etc., etc. But say if you want a little bit of fun with your base and defending it and having to deal with the Zirax drone attacks and maybe even get into a situation where you can actually clear the entire planet out of Zirax, then maybe settling here in Zirax territory is the way to go. If you're into making lots of money and trading, maybe Polaris or Trader Space and things like that is the way to go. I'm going to check out Zirax Space here, but essentially all I'm going to do is just jump planet to planet, star to star, and check out the planets. We're looking for very particular type of planets. And this will do quite nicely. We have 2 temperate planets in here, albeit temperate swamp planets, but you can see the resources available on each of these, including aluminium and titanium, neo, the basics, of course. In orbit of here as well is gold asteroids. Now, you can't auto-mine gold, so having a gold asteroid is fantastic. Then, of course, you've got the moons, which will have your pentaxid on them. That's got a restrum zirconium on it because it's nascent. Basically, in this sector, you have access to every resource. You have, and then most of them are in ground deposit form. So you can set up auto miners around here to pick up these resources automatically and just sit back and watch the resources flow in. You just have to go and pick them up, basically. But yeah, this sector has everything. So this will work perfectly, and this is exactly what you're looking for, is somewhere to call home and somewhere that has lots of resources for you to mine away on. Now, I like my auto miners to not deplete the deposit, so essentially I can set up a permanent operation here, just let the resources flow in and then build what the hell I want. So you got 2 choices really. You can either set up a base on planet, or you can set up a base in orbit. If you're setting up a base in orbit or in space, then you can really take advantage of solar power, and you know, the closer you are to a sun, the more effective the solar panels are. So this little station here would be quite good for a space station, but beware, this is Zirax space, so Now I'm gonna go check out Lambdet, because it's got 2 moons in orbit around that one, so I think that one would probably be the better of the 2. That one has only got 1 moon in orbit, but they are both temperate swamp planets. Let me just double check they're both the same size, actually. Can I have the planet information, please, game? Thank you. Yeah, large. They're both large. 0.91 G's gravity, 0.85 G's gravity. This one's slightly lighter. Breathable and breathable. Yeah, okay. I gotta go check it out. Alright, so we found a potential home. Now what? Well, get down there and find a suitable location. Now, there's several factors here. Now, setting up a base on a planet, a lot of people, a lot of experienced players prefer the space stations because generally they're more efficient. You don't get base attacks. You got the solar power, which can usually keep the station running without having to intervene with fuel manually. But I find space stations quite a lonely, isolated experience, and I actually quite like having a view from my base and building down on planets. I don't mind the base attacks as well. They interject a little bit of fun and sort of, you know, you can set up defenses and actually have something attack you is quite interesting as well. So I do prefer, for my playstyle, setting up on a planet. And temperate swamp planets are fairly pretty, and you get good sunsets and stuff like that. So we know that there's 6 Promethean deposits down there. We found one just over there. It's right by Xerx's territory, which I wasn't too fussed about. It's also only a small. So yeah, I'm gonna make a beeline to the northern hemisphere because I like being on the north. Generally, you get a little bit more solar power up there because the sun is usually on a bit of a wonk. But yeah, see, you could just about see the line there. You generally get more daylight in the north. There's a little bit more compacted in sort of resources as well, and POIs generally around the poles. So we'll start by going north. There's some Xerx stuff over here. I just went past that resource. That was silly and just talking away. But there's a big cluster here. Maybe we'll find a nice Promethean deposit. We're going to land on a Promethean deposit. We're going to build on a Promethean deposit, because then if our base is on a Promethean deposit, we essentially can we could just water mine fuel forever and fuel the base that way. We don't have to rely on solar. I'll put solar up as well, but it's not going to be the absolute be all and end all. Now, having iron and stuff like that around, aluminium isn't bad either. We're wanting to auto mine those resources as well. So that's it. But we also really want to be near water, ideally, or water is great for producing oxygen for our ships to use. It's also great for you producing hydrogen that we can then turn into fusion cells. The largest, there's a Promethean deposit, and it's on water. It's also great for producing hydrogen cells, fusion cells, which are the best sort of fuel source available. And this might be it, guys. This might be it. We have water, we have Promethean, and we have whatever that is over there. And there's no Xerx around here, but no territory markers. They're quite far away, and that's iron there. Okay. So that's what you want to do. You want to basically pick a good location. It is all about location, location, location when it comes to setting up a base. Now then, you've got another choice to make at this point. Do you hand build something, or do you spawn something in off the workshop, or perhaps something you built earlier? Well, for me, personally, I hate building in survival mode. I've been spoilt by creative mode for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can build myself a base that just sit down as the trees. Sit, hammerhead, sit. Right. Personally, I'm going to go ahead and spawn it in a base that I prepared earlier. And so for me, it's, well, I'm using very old blueprints. So here is the Pioneer Outpost. I'll lower that down a second. I remember when I created this. I think it was like Alpha 7, maybe Alpha 8. No, it was Alpha 6. I remember now because I remember remaking the Pioneer to fit this thing perfectly. And I'm really hoping, and I haven't tested this rather foolishly, I'm really hoping the Hammerhead sits nicely on that platform there. It's around about the same size as the Pioneer. I'll be a little bit smaller, I suspect. No, a little bit bigger, rather. Definitely bigger, I think. Oh, about to find out. Let's see. And I'll give you a tour of Pioneer Outpost, although I did use it rather recently. in a multiplayer series with the Chaos crew, so it's not it's not like it hasn't been seen for a while. It's been updated, and I have updated the workshop version as well. That's actually perfect, isn't it? Look at that. The perfect size landing pad for a small starter ship like the Hammerhead. I suspect the Hammerhead will retire itself into an auto miner maintenance craft soon. And we're going to be starting work on codenamed Dragonfly. Papdura drone carrier that I've been working on and chilling and building. Anyway. Now, the Pioneer Outpost is armed with missile turrets. Is that all you can manage? What are we out of here? Filter by base. A restroom. Oh, damn. Out of a restroom. Wow. We ate through that then, didn't we? Do we got any on this planet? No. Nearest source of a restroom then. It's probably the barren metal planet in this sector. Oh, there it is. There's some on lava nascent moons as well. Not a nascent planet, but 3.95 Gs, so probably not practical. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's loads of sources of restroom here. But, yeah, probably the easiest... Well, I say that. Probably the easiest is actually the nascent moons, because, as we know, on barren metal planets in Xerox territory, there will be anti-aircraft turrets everywhere. So, yeah. Alright. We'll worry about that later. For now, let me just pop in some base missiles into the base there, so it at least can defend itself. Should a drone attack come along. 155mm H missiles. None. Oh. Oh, I put it in ammo spare. Yeah, there we go. There we are. There we are. Okay, and the turrets are not targeting predators. Good. The power is on and off and on and off and off. Current output. Yeah. Current output is 82. Consumption is 2. So, yeah. Why it's consuming so much, but let's worry about that in a minute. We need to get auto miners down and stuff like that, but here he is, Pioneer Outpost. Now, you landed here on the pad up here. You've actually got a path. It's going to annoy me if we don't do something about that power situation, so I'm going to chuck some fuel in there. Consumables. Just chuck a bunch of the small... This thing has got a crazy number of fuel tanks, so you can really stack up the fuel in here. But yeah, we've got a little walkway over from the landing pad here into the top of the tower. And one of the reasons I chose Pioneer Outpost is because of this tower and the fact that we are on a temperate swamp planet here, which, as I say, is a beautiful planet. It's lush and green, and you get good sunsets here. Great place to have a nice view. And the solar panel layout that I've got isn't the best, but you know, it will do fine. And I'm thinking I'd probably add... I think I can add 3 more solar panels to that or something, so yeah, I can put them somewhere else that's maybe a little bit better. But yeah, the tower here, just like, it's quite nice. Quite nice, quite luxurious. Lots of RP value, like, you know, nice chairs and seaty things and little offices and whatnot. And then you got the penthouse suite up here with views over the Hammerhead down there, and of course the whole base, really. See out over, fully equipped, showers, toilets and stuff. Quite a nice view, really. Quite a nice view. But yeah, showers and toilets and stuff. So yeah, the tower is all about kind of a living space. But then if we go into we go down, we've got the viewing gallery above the medical bay. There's also an art gallery over here, which of course I need to go and put some posters up for. And then that accesses the medical bay gallery. Further down, we've got another mezzanine level here just above the actual production center of this place, where we have furnaces tucked into the wall and just down here are all of our constructors as well. So all the working stuff is in sort of lower levels. And then in here, we've got all of the storage. Oh boy. Not what they were attacking, but one thing about a swamp planet is that sometimes it will spawn... then it wouldn't be predators, but they'll be like bad guys. The aliens, that's it, aliens. They're sort of hexapods and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, you can see here we've got plenty of storage. Lots of storage here. Lots of, there's even a box still called Laney Shame from when we from where we did it on the live stream. Bladed Stash, Laney Shame. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I don't get a box. Everybody else gets a box. I don't get a box. But yeah, there's more than enough storage in here for us to enjoy. And then we get a nice corridor out the back here, which takes us into, well, we got some CPU extensions, medical, and O2 armor lockers, and then we just got access doors out in every which direction. That goes into the hangar bay that's underneath the landing pad. This goes up to a landing pad on this side, and then continues up to a landing pad on this side. So we've got lots of room for different SVs and stuff when we bring them in. And I'll quickly show you the hover vessel hangar bay underneath the landing pad here. And lots of room in here for various hover vessels that we may want later on in the game. So this is why I like Pioneer Outpost. It's got everything you need. Parking for days, storage for days, production, furnaces and stuff like that. I missed out the kitchen area and we've got a little storage bay down here. It's just literally a little warehouse thing with storage tucked in the floor. We've got grow plants for days. A really decent sized garden, especially for a solo player. That is going to keep me very well fed once planted. And medicals and stuff like that. Of course, all the food processors are here. And there we go, that's it. Yeah. This links back up to where the CPU processors are. Pioneer Outpost, ladies and gents. I'll link down below in the video description to the workshop page. It is an old build, so you might notice some kind of old texturing techniques and block work techniques and stuff in here, but, you know, it's an old build, sir, but it checks out. And that's the view. Pretty good, huh? There's a moon. No big deal. Just cruising on by, you know? So, yeah, lots of prep work to do here. We've got everything that's in the hammerhead. What we want to do is pretty much transfer this over to Pioneer Outpost in the various boxes and organize it and stuff. I just noticed another. I'm going to have to rename some of these boxes. But, yeah, I'm going to move into this place and let's get an auto miner set up next. Because that's the next thing is, what the hell are auto miners, Spanj? I keep going on about these auto miners, right? Well, they're pretty damn useful, really. Looks like I've just got the one. So I've got an epic auto miner here, which I got for collecting the explorer tokens. So we're going to use that one first. The others I can't craft, I don't think, until we get some more terrestrium, which we're going to have to just go out and mine, I think. And that's just part of the game. So let's go ahead and we're going to connect to the hammerhead here and grab the epic auto miner. There it is. Now we need that Promethean deposit. Essentially, you grab the auto miner in your connected toolbar, stand over the top of the deposit, and place it down. It will turn blue if it's over a deposit. We then need some fuel. So fuel is a bit of an issue. So I'm going to grab the 62 double fire packs there, okay, and fuel it up. Okay, you can shift click to just transfer all the fuel in, and it'll put one fuel in per slot. And so we can see the Promethean ore 240 ore per hour is what we're going to be getting out of this thing. The source quality is only 48% because it's a small deposit. The larger the deposit, the better the quality. Operational time is 112 hours at 240 per hour. So there we go. We've already got 2 Promethean ore coming out of that. So the idea is that with that epic auto miner on there, we're going to be producing a very nice amount of Promethean, which we can turn into fuel, as we're running a little low on that. And that's going to power not only the base, but the hammerhead, and our next ship, and our next ship, and so on and so forth. So I'll show you now how, let me just park the hammerhead back on the platform here. I'll show you now technique that I will employ in order to speed up time and produce all that Promethean from the auto miner in a fraction of the time that it actually says it would. And that is to simply just sleep for 8 hours. Use the bed. Things at night time. Spawns a bunch of enemies around. You done? Ah, we can just do it again. Ah, it's daytime again. Alright, so we slept for 16 hours. Okay. The auto miner said it was going to run for 112. So, but 16 hours at 240 ores per hour. Hey, this should be good. Well, I was expecting just under 4,000 ores there, according to the math, but we can't hold Elion responsible to math. 661 Promethean ore. It still hasn't used another fuel cell up. In the end, I suppose that's okay. But, yeah, sleep for 8 hours, huh? I don't think so. Anyway, the point is we have progress time, and as a result, the auto miner here has produced some Promethean very quickly. And that is how you essentially acquire a crap load of resources very, very quickly in single player using auto miners. That'll wear away now until it runs out of fuel and we can pick up the thousands of ore that it will pick up. In the meantime, we can get the base producing fuel cells, or what I prefer, fusion cells. But for fusion cells, we're going to need one more thing. And I still haven't moved into the base, so we're going to have to use the hammerhead for this as well. But that's okay, because we're probably going to need its mobile storage. Place these things down. And I'm, of course, talking about water generators. We're probably going to want about, I don't know, 5 of them. More than enough. Should be more than enough. So let's build 5 water generators. They are unlocked by default. You don't need to unlock them. Everybody has them. And they can be built in portable constructors as well. So you can get them very, very early on. So same deal with auto miners and the water collectors here. Just stick them on your connected toolbar here. But you need to find a patch of water. Fortunately, on a swamp planet, that's reasonably available. As you can see, can't place it on land, you have to place it in water. So you're going to line up all 5 of these right next to each other in this small pond. And like this. Okay, and then once again, we need to fuel them. So let me grab some fuel here. Use these as well. And fill them up. And what these will do, much like the auto miners, is over time they will generate basically containers full of water. And there we go. So with some Promethean and water, we can now start producing fusion cells. That's all it needs, and off it will go. There's fusion cells we'll use to power the base. We're getting our first base attack. First base attack is inbound. The base is out of missiles because it's used them all killing freaking aliens on the ground. So we're going to have to jump into the nightshade here. See this off. That cover the rocket drones. Oh, hello. Shields are not up yet. I think it would help if I actually hit the target. Wow. We survived 3 direct hits from railguns. Alright, there we go. First base attack dealt with. 3 drones. Yeah, alright. Nasty first attack. But that highlights the need for us to get missiles Some of the turrets have still got some in the chamber and stuff, so they're able to fire, but not for long. Now to invest in some sentry guns to maybe offset the missile usage and reconfigure the turrets. Let's park the nightshade actually down here on the base. There we go. Fair place for it to be rather than on top of the hammerhead. Right, I have to get some restroom next. So we're back to mining, which of course we all are very familiar with now. And we just need to find, ideally, an restroom asteroid, because that would just be so much easier to mine. But I don't think they exist, to be honest. I think we're going to have to go down onto our moon here that's just neighboring. Perhaps dig up a couple of the restroom deposits from there. We're being careful to leave one, of course, so that we can put an auto miner on it later. But that restroom is going to enable us to build more auto miners and rocket ammunition. Of course, one of the things with lava nascent moons, in particular, is that they are absolutely swarming in Xerax. So, we have to be careful. But also, gives us something to do later on. When we're ready, we can come back here and absolutely destroy every single one of them. Wipe them out. All of them. But yeah, a lot of these are little trash POIs like teleport marker and single turret defenses and stuff like that. But there's still plenty more to be blown up. Something we can absolutely do once we've got all of our resources and builds and everything settled in. Oh yes. This is the time of the game where it is basically just grinding. Basically mining, grinding, placing auto miners, feeding auto miners, emptying auto miners, until you have enough resources that you can spawn everything that you want to spawn in, fuel it, arm it, and then go and trounce some stuff. Where is the restroom? Seriously, there's only 4 deposits of it around here somewhere. Alright. We'll find it eventually. Restroom. Nice. And a medium deposit to boot. Yeah, we are being shot at by drones. And Xerax ground forces. All turrets deploy, deploy. Sentry guns open up. And light armor at the moment, so not the most ideal conditions for a ground fight, but I think all the turrets have got it. See? Fairness, I think they got it, boys. Okay. Alright, let's go get our specialist mining equipment here. Dig us up some restroom. Well, with the restroom in our belly, let's head back to base and finish arming it, moving into it, build some more auto miners so we can start extending our resource gathering empire. And then in the next episode, we're going to start getting in some new toys for us to play with. Because as you just saw, the Xerax infestation around here is severe, and we're going to need some serious bits of kit to clear it up. Anyway, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching today. I do hope you've enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.